Hey, good morning, everybody. We're going to discuss a little bit about the final sanding process of finishing and sanding the boards that we make. Even though we have that big, beautiful Grizzly sander back here, we still have to do some hand sanding at the end to get the real smooth finish on our products. So it's a great machine back there, but we still have some extra time at the end to hand sand, wet them down, sand them again, and then oil them to give them the finish that we desire. So we'll go through that process a little bit. I'll show you the Mirka random orbital sander that we use, talk about the grits, and show you how we finish out these products.
So here's a little bit about how we finish our cutting boards, how we sand them, the grits, the process we go through to do final sanding. This is the Mirka 5-inch random orbital sander. There's a pad saver here, this black piece here, that saves this piece, the head of the sander, because that is more expensive than this pad saver. So we switch those out once in a while to grip onto the sanding pads. But these Mirka sanders are incredible, very minimal vibration, which helps with fatigue in our hands, our wrists, our arms. So we really like these machines. And then it is attached to the vacuum over here and the bucket so that we can capture as much sawdust as possible. After coming through that machine, sometimes we have to go back to 80 grit sandpaper. If there's any major scratches, especially in end grain, we sometimes have to buff them a little bit with 80 to get some of the scratches out. And then we use a 120 grit. After the 120, so the 120, what we do is we try and get out all the scratches that are left from the belts on the sanding machine. We shape it, give it some of the curves on the edges, take out the saw blade marks that tend to be on the ends and the sides. So you'll see kerf marks from the table saw, and we want to get those out. So the 120 takes care of all the shaping, getting out of the any scratches from the sanding belt. After the 120, we'll take it over there. We'll wipe every board down with a damp cloth. All these up here have been wiped down. And that's just with water. And what that does is it helps to raise the grain a little bit, raise the wood grain. And then, because when you wet wood, it becomes fuzzy again when that grain is raised. So we want to do a little bit of that now before we finish. After that water has dried, we will come back and we will final sand it to 220. And that 220 just kind of buffs everything. We're not trying to get out any scratches and saw kerf marks. The 220 just buffs out that fuzziness from the water popping. So we're gonna sand out 4 boards here. These have already been 120'd and wet. So now we're gonna just do the 220. We have a 8x12 diagonal board that has strips of about 6 or 7 different woods in there. We have a daily 10x14 that has the Three Sisters mountain range, south, middle, and north. Three Sisters mountains are in our backyard here in Central Oregon. We see those beautiful mountains every day. We have a maple end grain butcher block that has the confetti. The confetti is really cool. We'll do a long in-depth video on that someday. Takes a long time to make, very labor intensive, and we lose a lot of material by the time we're done. And then a 10 by 14 unique board. It has bird's eye maple in the center, sapele on the outer, and then we have some strips of cherry, purple heart, and cherry in there. So we'll sand those out, and then we'll take them over to the to get mineral oiled and then waxed.